Mr. Rowlett?
Good evening. My name is David Rowlett, Executive Director of the Berea Chamber of Commerce, and I come this evening with a couple of requests from our Chamber Board of Directors, our Economic Development Committee, and our Spoonbread Festival Planning Committee. The first issue we wanted to follow up on is the status of our request for proposals through the Tourism Commission to do the feasibility study for the community center that we've all been looking at over the last 4 or 5 years. I understand funding has been earmarked for that, and we just want to see what the status of the request is for proposals.
I believe that Mr. Stone has responded to your letter. In summary, I think it's saying that the RFP has been prepared. It will be presented to the City Council at our strategic planning session on next Thursday on the 9th.
Wednesday.
On Wednesday, on the 9th, whenever that is. We will be talking more as a council and as a city about economic development generally and specifically with that in mind. There has been some thought that it would be an important element in that discussion, and that it probably ought to wait until that takes shape. So it has not been forgotten, but it's part of a bigger.
Had quite a bit of attention during the election or the time leading up to that, and we just want to make sure that, you know, since the money was earmarked for this fiscal year, that we try to go ahead and at least identify what the cost would be and try to find a vendor or a service provider that could do that as quickly as possible.
I think there's some concern, though, that the parameters and the design that has been driving the RFP at this time may be somewhat reshaped in a more broad economic development discussion. Maybe, maybe not. But
I think the key there is that we need an independent body that can work with the stakeholders here in our community to identify what our needs are, and they may look entirely different than what they are today when it's all said and done, but we really need to get that out there, if nothing else, to put a number on it so that we can, you know, either fund it or seek additional funding if necessary to get that done as quickly as possible. There's a lot of interest in that throughout the community, and I think we find you know, there's just unlimited uses for that for our local people, as well as, you know, the opportunity to increase our tourism tenfold probably. So we just really need to stay on top of that.
we continue to look forward to input from the chamber on those issues.
Okay. The second issue is our Spoonbread Planning Committee is already hard at work. You know, that's got to be a year-round thing now that the thing has grown and continues to prosper. Over the last couple of years, we've tried to work a little bit with the city on some electrical upgrades or needs that we perceive there in the park. And I've got a little diagram here that I'll pass, and you guys can take that and look at it and all. But one of the problems we have is, you know, fortunately with the growth of the festival, we are now at a point where we pretty well maxed out the use of Memorial Park for that event. Some seem to think we need to look at relocating that. I think it would probably be a mistake if we chose to do that, simply because people that have come to that over the last 14 years know where to come to seek out the event and participate throughout the weekend. And but at the same time, you know, one of the problems we always run into the last couple of years especially is with the weather and things that we've enjoyed. We have, as you can see there, probably in excess of 140, 150 vendors. And to put that many 12 by 12 spaces on Memorial Park is a real burden. But the real problem that we have is, you know, our electrical requests continue to grow. People expect more, especially with technology and things. They want to use charge cards and different things that they need to run there in addition to the lights and various things. Last year, if you recall, with the things extending into the evening, we worked with the street department to bring in some auxiliary lighting and stuff. But our big demand right now is on electricity there, especially up towards the Broadway end and things. And so we've had a couple of folks look at this and had some numbers. Tom spent quite a bit of time back in the fall, I guess, working with some of the city employees and things. We just really need to look at that, not necessarily for our needs alone, but the opportunities to host other events and things there over the over the coming months and years. So hopefully we can work with Dale and Randy and the staff to get some things going there. It's something that we may have to do incrementally. We may have to do a little bit this year and a little bit the following year or something. But, you know, if we're committed to keeping that event down in Memorial Park and growing outward, if you will, we're going to have to address some of those electrical needs and things. So,
Did you put a cost on that?
I think the preliminary number that we had was somewhere around $8,000 or $10,000. That's been jockeyed with 2 or 3 times. But, you know, again, it's something that I think we'll need to begin to look at and how we can address that. At least for the coming year, we have intentions of trying to expand even deeper, maybe into the side there around the Folk Center and stuff. But if you recall, the last few years, we've used a lot of that space as well. So I'm not quite sure how we're going to handle that, but we want to keep the event there and grow it as best we can, and electrical issues are a concern, because if you look at the costs that we've had, you know, and just trying to do some temporary services and things over the last 14 years, it's probably way more than the $8,000 or $10,000 that we've looked at. So any help you could give us there would certainly be appreciated. We're at this time meeting monthly. Soon that'll be bi-weekly, and things on our planning for that event, and now's the time, I think, to do that, rather than waiting until the fall and then having to rely on generators or some of the other things to address those needs. So.
What's the one thing that you need the worst right now?
Probably some electricity there along the back of the park there. If you're looking at that, we have some red dots on there that show 3 locations where we feel like there's at least a need to put some additional service in there, because what happens is the electricity that's there, for the most part, is there around the picnic shelter and then down the sidewalk. But, you know, undoubtedly we overload that every time we stick in those power strips and things. We take a pole there designed for maybe 2 plugs, and we put 6 or 8 on it. So it's just a matter of time until we have some problems there.
So those 3 spaces there, the 3 things?
Those would be things that we could probably build out of or run from to accommodate some additional needs. So,
Thank you.
all right. Any other questions? Or
Mr. Stone's letter to you was going to invite you and the chamber to, when you attend the next Monday morning meeting, to, if you would, stay behind and
we could do that. We
talk
just need to
over
work
that
on it.
issue in more detail.
All right. Appreciate your time. And if you have questions of an individual nature, I'll be glad to meet with you individually, or if we need to meet down in the park. Or I personally think that even though, you know, we're trying to do this feasibility study as soon as possible, I think we could still all benefit by visiting a few other communities that have these facilities, because we can always learn from them and take something. I think every time we go out, we come back with a little different twist on things. But, you know, ultimately we've got to get somebody out there that can meet with the stakeholders one-on-one, and you know, we may decide that we need 6 of these spaces, 12 of these, and 4 of these, and ultimately we've got to know what kind of technology we need to be able to make that facility marketable for our locals as well as tourists and things. So.
Yeah, and I think regardless of what we do in regard, put the feasibility study show, the interesting thing is long-term is how you're going to continue to operate it.
Yeah,
and make this an operation, and that's a big concern, because you don't want to put up a facility like I've seen some of those and not be able to sustain it. So, yeah.
Thanks again.
Thank you. Other individuals not on the agenda with items to bring before the council? Next then, the minutes of February 15th. Are there changes?
I move we approve the minutes, February 15th.
Motion to approve the minutes as distributed by Mr. Fields.
Second.
Second by Ms. Farmer. Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Minutes are approved as distributed. Next, I'd like to call on Phyllis Adams to come forward and tell us about, do you want the proclamation first, or do you want to speak first?
Well, actually, I'm going to have Diane Smith to come up and speak. She's one of our members from here in Berea, and she has a special guest with her because of the one of the drawings that you have.
Ann Smith.
Thank you, Phyllis. Thank you, Mayor Conley, for letting us be on the agenda tonight. And we are here to celebrate Be a Children's Champion Month, which is a program that began in 1997 and the first proclamation was in March of that year. And basically what this campaign does is promotes involvement and encouragement and support to youth and families in the community and all of Madison County. And I can sit here and I see Glenn Jennings, I see Vi Farmer, I see so many people, Randy that have been, Maggie who does things every day. And each of you, I know in your own way, support youth and encourage them and provide leadership for them. And that's what we're encouraging people to do. So we appreciate this opportunity to be recognized tonight. In your packets in front of you, you have a flyer that tells a little bit more about Children's Champion Month, and some of the activities that are going on in the county are listed. We have each year there is a billboard contest among all the elementary schools in Madison County, and the billboard winner this year is from Kirksville, and here is her picture. But I would like to introduce Kyla Wilkie. If she will come up. She is the winner from Berea Community School, and she is the county runner-up. So we're very proud. There is a huge banner in our school foyer that has been made with her picture on it. There we go. And the art teacher is Tina Williams. Ms. Williams encouraged all the students in each grade level to create a poster. Kylie was the winner for the school and the county runner-up, so we wanted to recognize her tonight. Thank you.
Now, what was her name again?
Kyla Wilkie.
Kyla?
So thank you very much.
Thank you. And the proclamation that we'll dedicate to Tyla and the others. Whereas the city of Berea values every child and family, and whereas citizens need to care for children and support children's issues, programs, and activities, and whereas organizations, businesses, hospitals, schools, churches, and service agencies join forces to promote public awareness of keeping children drug and alcohol free, and whereas citizens of Berea and Madison County need to collaborate to ensure that every child has the type of environment at home, at school, at child care, and in the community that will promote healthy development and appropriate learning opportunities. And whereas our city is willing to demonstrate that children are our most important assets, and whereas much appreciation is due to those who have worked this past year in support of this program, now therefore, as mayor of the city of Berea, I do hereby proclaim the month of March in the year 2011 as Children's Champions of Madison County Month in Berea, Kentucky, and in support of the campaign promoted by Children's Champions of Madison County. And if I could, Tyla, would you come up and receive the proclamation and take it back to your good group? Thank you very much, Tyla. Did you choose those socks for this meeting? Crazy sock day at school. Next then, we have 2 bids for turnout gear, is that correct? Turnout gear for the fire department, Bluegrass Fire Equipment Company. The bid of Bluegrass Fire Equipment Company is $15,535. Next. WYNN, WYNN Fire Equipment, total bid of $21,125. Without objection, the bids will be turned over to the Audit and Finance Committee for evaluation. Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered. WYNN, WIN Equipment. Next then on the agenda, a call on Juan Pena, Martin Rensdale, Sandra Powell for a presentation on the Human Rights Commission.
Yes, please. Just start with me. Good evening, Mayor, Conley, and council members. Thank you for having us on the agenda. My name is Juan Pena. I'm a field supervisor for the Kentucky Commission on Human Rights. And with me, I have Morgan Ransdale. He's our managing attorney at the commission. And also we have Sandra Agnes Powell. She's one of the commissioners at the commission. We have 11 commissioners, and she's one of them that covers this area. She also happened to be the chair for the local human rights commission. Here is to you to create a local human rights commission, and Morgan Ransdale is here to respond to any legal questions that you may have, what it takes or may require to establish local human rights commissions. But before we get into that request, I would like to give you a brief introduction about the Kentucky Commission on Human Rights. Early last month, I met with Mayor Conley and Council Member Burnside and Wagers, and also we had the support of Dr. Ed Curley. I don't see him here. But I spent about 45 minutes trying to explain the purpose and the need of the local human rights commission. And Mayor Conley said, "You're working too hard to convince us about civil rights." So that indicates me that you are ahead of the civil rights and able and willing to accept the recommendation. I should have known better. I went to Berea College, and I know the rich history that has Berea College about civil rights. So I will keep my presentation brief and save more time for questions. But the Kentucky Commission on Human Rights is the state agency responsible for the enforcement of the Kentucky Civil Rights Act. The commission receives and investigates complaints of discriminations. And the commission has a duty to work with the local governments, city, and counties to create local human rights commissions and to help us in the enforcement and also in the education and outreach about civil rights laws. And the reason that we need more local human rights commissions, there's several reasons of them, but just highlight a few of them. That in spite the 50 years that have passed or more, that the civil rights was passed in the U.S. and the state, discrimination is still happening. It happens everywhere in our state. Just to give you some numbers, that in the commission filed 322 complaints of discrimination in 2009 and 329 in 2010. For Richmond and Berea, the commission filed 6 complaints since January 2010. These numbers do not include the complaints filed or received by the Equal Employment Opportunity Commissions, it's a federal agency, or the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development that receive complaints in housing. Also, there are 2 local human rights commissions, that's Lexington Human Rights Commissions and the Louisville Human Rights Commissions that receive and investigate complaints of discrimination. So it doesn't reflect those numbers here. Also, due to the limited resources that we have at the commission, we are unable to go to every city, every county across the state. So we need the help of local human rights commissions. As of now, we have about 23 local human rights commissions under city or county governments across the state. They have been a great help in ensuring that their citizens are aware of their rights and responsibilities under the Kentucky Fair Housing Act. So then, we have learned that local human rights commissions understand better the needs of the civil rights of their citizens and residents in their community. They also have become very effective in addressing some minor issues that might that can be solved locally, and issues that sometimes are just miscommunication, but they're perceived as civil rights issues or discrimination. So they can be solved locally. It doesn't have to go to our state to formally file a complaint and investigate. Then the respondent would have to spend money to defend their case, because once a complaint is reached to the commission, again, we do that impartial investigation, and sometimes that can be a burden for both, for the complainant and also for the respondent. So this is a great thing to have a local commission that will assist that miscommunication. Also, we have learned that local human rights commissions are effective to promote a greater or foster understanding within the community. That's are some of the important things that we have seen with the commissions. To establish a local human rights commission, the city will require your action to pass an ordinance as stated in the Kentucky civil rights laws. And I have some handouts that are here I will pass after my presentation, and just it gives you guidance the power that will have a local human rights commissions. But under the Kentucky Fair Housing, under the Kentucky Civil Rights Act, there are 3 specific areas that prohibits discrimination. 1 is employment, 2 is housing, 3 is public accommodation. And under each area, there are specific protected classes that we call it. For example, in employment, there's a race, color, disability, national origin, religion, sex, that includes sexual harassment, age and over, smoking or non-smoking, again, that's an employment, and retaliation. In housing, it's almost the same. The protected classes like race, color, disability, national origin, religion, sex, familiar status. That means for families who have children under 18 years old. And public accommodation, that includes any public accommodation that is open to the public, a restaurant, clinic, and so on. That's the protected classes that include race, color, disability, national origin, religion, sex. So these are the protected classes. So when someone comes to the commission to file a complaint, we look into this. Does it fall? Is the person is under one of the protected classes? If yes, then again, there are more questions that we ask, but these are the basic things. So we encourage your city to adopt an ordinance. Our managing attorney, Morgan Ransdale, has drafted a sample of a local human rights commission ordinance. And this ordinance, I have copies, and we can send you electronic copy. And so one thing that we encourage your commission or your commission to be is to include in the ordinance a fairness ordinance. In Kentucky, there are 3 cities that have adopted an ordinance called fairness that protects individuals based on their sexual orientation. That's the Lexington, Louisville, and Covington. This protected class, this fairness component is not protected under the Kentucky Fair Housing, Kentucky Civil Rights Act. But we have seen we have received inquiries about this concern. There are many citizens in our community that have been harassed, have been refused to hire because of their sexual orientation. Last week on Thursday, there was a public forum in Richmond that individuals expressed their experience. They have been fired from their jobs, harassed from their workplace, in the place where they live because of their sexual orientation. Again, this is a protected class that we encourage you and other city governments to include in their ordinance as well, because we see the need. This fairness, if it's included, it will protect not only those who, based on the sexual orientation, but also will protect for individuals who are called straight. I'm going to share with you an experience about a call that I received a couple months ago. An individual, I would not name the city, but called me, and he said that he has been harassed, and because he was not part of that sexual orientation, and as a result, he reacted, and he was fired from his job, and he called me and said, I want to file a complaint because I was harassed, because of my, I'm a straight person, and I was harassed. I was working in this work environment, and I've been fired as a result. He had 2 children. One of them was in high school, and he shared with me that he had already scholarships to attend one of the state universities, but the family had to move to Florida. Again, so an ordinance, fairness ordinance, will not only protect individuals about their basic sexual orientations, but protect every person in the community. The city is encouraged to appoint individuals from the communities to the board, and that will include every member from every, a member from every sector. It can be from the business community, from the traditional community, from the just any individuals important in every facet of the community. Now, one of the main questions that we received in our presentations is how much it will cost. Of course, it can cost a lot, it can cost a little bit. It really depends your commitment to the local human rights commissions. But you don't have to spend a lot. Most commissioners or board members who are appointed to the commissions work on a volunteer basis. And they meet once a month or every 2 months. And the Kentucky Human Rights Commissions we are here to provide technical assistance and trainings once ordinance and members of the board have been appointed. And we're here to give any technical support during the establishment and creation, also during the process or during any investigation or any conciliation that the local human rights commissions might decide to take when it receives an inquiry. But that's my short presentation. Again, we see that there's a need to establish local human rights commissions, and our goal is to establish as many as we can because discrimination still occurs. I brought a copy of the newspaper from the Washington Herald. You might have read it. One of the things that highlights there, sexual harassment in the workforce. Again, it still happens. And it's, so that's the reason that we are proactive in communities to work with local governments to establish the local human rights commissions to help us in our education outreach and to ensure that every individual is protected. Thank you.
Thank you, Juan. Anybody on council have a question of Mr. Pena or his cohorts about the Human Rights Commission or anything in his presentation?
Mr. Pena, I understand that quite often the resolution to some of these complaints is that with the commission working with whoever the complainant and whoever they complained against, is that education is used a lot of time in the resolution of those. Is that?
That's correct. That's correct. So one thing that we ask the local human rights commission to focus on is on education. And if there is a complaint that has basis of, we believe it's a not probable cause, but that it has the merits for a complaint, we recommend the local human rights commissions to send information to the Kentucky Commission on Human Rights because we do have the resources and the experience as our managing attorney is here. He's considered one of the experts in the civil rights matters. Is there anything you would like to add? Morgan or Sandra News.
Just wanted
Welcome.
to just give you a brief summary of what the local Commission on Human Rights have done and continue doing in Richmond. It's a board of volunteers, and every board member has some kind of expertise in the area of either race, disability, issues of Native Americans, religion. So it's a diverse group, and it represents a good segment of the communities, people in the community that are willing and are passionate about issues of human rights, because it's a position and a title that you will use to solve each situations and to be pretty much a mediator. So it's not a very, you usually remember when there is a conflict, and so it has to be run by a group of community members who are passionate about this. We have a space provided by the city, and if we need any assistance, we request it to the city manager, and we can utilize the facilities for meetings and things like that. Because of issues of finances, there is no budget right now. There used to be a line budget for our space or for our materials, for our papers and all of the things that we might need. And last year, the beginning of this year, I think it was we organized the Unity Breakfast and we made it a fundraiser. So we now have a budget of around little bit more, $2,000, and with that money we are planning to do another event, and we're using it for other community events, like if we need pizzas, or if we need paper plates, or if we need more ink or paper, we use the money for that. So we have become pretty self-sufficient, so we have tried to utilize other community resources. We have great partners in the community, EKU, Foothills, and churches, and so it's been a community effort, and I know that it's very easy to recreate. We are planning to do some kind of event since this year we have a conversation in the last meeting, and we're going to come up with some kind of event that will really show unity in the county, because we get phone calls from people in the county. Sure. And we have been very successful at that. We either refer people. Many of the phone calls that we get are not recorded, because we, again, are a volunteering board, but we have had people in the county that have had issues of race and housing discrimination, and we have referred them to places. So we want to do some kind of event that I had sort of mentioned to the mayor, and in that group I said something about a unity event. And we, the local Commission on Human Rights, we're trying to come up with some kind of unity concert event, and we're thinking that maybe sometime in April, around April 16, and we just wanted you all to sort of save the day as soon as we have all the information. We want to make it a county affair. We want to make it a city of Richmond, city of Berea, any other city in the area. So it really will be an opportunity for all of us to be in the same plane. And knowing that the situation and finances of our area and our country are a little tight at this point, there is no better time to get together and do things together. So just on behalf of our local human rights, if you could just save the day, and as soon as we have all the details, we'll bring it in and locally, and it will be an honor and a dream that by then maybe you all have human rights, and we can partner with them too, and we can do things together, since we're going to be joining the same causes. So, and as a Kentucky Commission on Human Rights, which I represent the Kentucky Commission on Human Rights at large, state at large, Berea is a leader of issues of human rights in the country, and so I just think that it's just the logical thing to do. And thank you all so very much. You have any question for our lawyer?
Did you say April the 15th?
16. We were thinking 16 is a Saturday.
Okay. The 15th is our Sarah Care benefit here in Berea.
Okay. So that makes more sense. Definitely the 16th. And is there any other big event happening in Berea? Because we were thinking that maybe to do it in, and I forgot the name of, is Armory? To do it in a location where it was no convenient for Richmond and Berea, so, and we're thinking maybe the mayor is going to recommend some good singers of the areas or groups, and we'll get some other groups, so it'll really become a good event. So we have a little money for it. We'll be looking for other sponsors, so we make it an event that is welcome to the general public. Thank you so much.
Other questions? Burnside.
Since the fairness ordinance is not in the original protective class, does that require more of an enforcement effort on the part of cities? It may be costly or not?
I will just give you a kind of a short rundown. There are sort of 4 types of local commissions in Kentucky. There are those that have both a staff and enforcement powers. There are those that have no staff but do have enforcement powers. There are those with no staff and no enforcement powers. And then there are some with no enforcement powers but staff, so if I haven't confused you. But the model that we've proposed and what we've distributed is based upon the Covington ordinance. Covington has enforcement powers in its ordinance to include those fairness protections, but does not have a staff. The duties of investigating complaints when they arise falls to the city I've phrased this in the ordinance city manager, but you all have a city administrator. But the duty to conduct the investigation isn't handled by the commissioners or the commission, but a city employee, usually somebody that would be assigned to the EEO responsibilities for the city. And in Covington, in the 10 years that they've had their ordinance in place, they haven't had to have one hearing. So the numbers of the actual burden that falls on the city is extremely low. It's in the area of civil rights, it's having that protection on the books that changes the mindset of the people in the community, and the remarkable majority of individuals and businesses are going to bring themselves, are going to endeavor to comply with the law and not violate people's civil rights in this community where those protections exist.
And Morgan, what we are proposing in the city is to get the complaints and then refer them to the Kentucky Commission on Human Rights or any other, agencies that are already established to protect that particular class.
Yeah, under the Covington, what Covington has done, which is really what we're suggesting as the low-cost option for a city in Kentucky, is to basically include those fairness protections that protect people from discrimination based upon sexual orientation, and on the other complaints that come into that local commission, because the state commission has jurisdiction, they refer all the other complaints to the state commission, and then their only responsibility under the local ordinance is the education and outreach functions that all of the local commissions perform, and then handling those rare complaints that are based upon sexual orientation that arise in a community. And of course, that responsibility will become when and if a statewide fairness bill is passed. But that's not on the immediate future, so that's why there's a desire to see cities, in addition to Louisville, Lexington, and Covington, include that protection in their ordinance.
And Morgan, people can find their own lawyers and follow their own complaints once it's a classified group, is that right?
The way it works, under the Kentucky Constitution, a local government cannot create a private right of action in circuit court. So if you decide you want to protect people from discrimination in Berea, protect people from discrimination based upon sexual orientation, the only way you can do it is to have an administrative mechanism to investigate and rule upon those matters. And under the draft ordinance, it basically falls to a hearing officer who would actually preside over an administrative hearing that would result in a determination of whether or not discrimination occurred.
Can a hearing officer be one of the commissioners?
Generally, a hearing officer has to be an attorney who is certified to serve as a hearing officer in Kentucky. That requires about 18 hours of training. If you're lucky enough to have a local commission where you've got an attorney that serves as a member and as a hearing officer, they're permitted to preside over the hearings as long as they recuse themselves from any commission deliberations regarding the final decision that's handed down. But we actually have a very detailed summary of the enforcement process that Covington utilizes. That's the model for the way you would actually administer those rare cases when you get a complaint and have to investigate it, because there's no other remedy for the victim under state law or federal law.
Okay. Well, we'll take a look at what you provided.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your presentation and the materials.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda, appointment of Planning and Zoning Commission. We have 6 people whose terms have expired. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. J. Carroll McGill, Betty Olinger, Don Buchanan, Sean Clark, Richard Olson, Charles Hoffman. These individuals have indicated they would like to continue to serve. They have had training, and I bring them to you tonight for reappointment and would ask for either a separate or a joint motion to do so.
So move.
Motion then by Ms. Farmer,
Second.
second by Mr. Burnside. Discussion, comment? All in favor then of giving these 6 an additional term signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? No?
No.
That one? One no? Okay. The motion is approved. There is also an existing vacancy created by Gary Irwin's move to Washington. So I would ask for suggested names of parties that may be interested in receiving training and embarking upon a service in that capacity. And then we have one other member whom we have not been able to receive a response. And so I'll report on those 2 next time, possibly. Next, call on our street department. Mr. Tim Taylor for a presentation.
Mayor, I'm gonna read all this, so y'all just bear with me.
Is it long?
Yes, it is.
Does it have sound effects?
Yes, sir.
But nothing flushing or anything.
Mayor, city council, citizens, for those of who may not know, I'm Tim Taylor, Director of Public Works. I'd like to start off by telling you a little about myself and my family. My wife and I will be celebrating our 27th anniversary March 3rd. We have a 18-year-old son, Timothy Ryan Taylor, and a 16-year-old daughter, Emily Robin Taylor. We have been residents of Berea all of our lives. I've been employed with the city for 27 years. I have a Roadmaster's degree and a Road Scholar degree, which took me 2 years to achieve. I have many other degrees and certifications. With that being said, I'd like to begin with my presentation. The first thing we will see on the screen is the City of Berea Department of Public Works. Now we'll get started. Department of Public Works located at 200 Harrison Road. Excuse me. Phone number is 859-986-8792. Fax number is 859-986-1360. Hours of operation is 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. Public Works Department consists of 15 full-time employees and 3 temporary employees. Tim Taylor, Public Works Director, myself. Donnie Davison, crew leader. Archie Poff, senior mechanic. Mildred Walton, administrative assistant. Functions of the Public Works Department. The City of Berea Department of Public Works strive to effectively maintain the city streets and storm drains for protection of the public and improvement of the quality of life for the citizens of Berea. With the utmost of efficiency, the department provides essential services in the area of street and storm drain maintenance and maintenance of the city place or public spaces. The department provides a professionally operated city garage for the maintenance and repair of the city fleet of vehicles and equipment. The department works to ensure that our city grows and develops to enhance the quality of life and for the residents, businesses, and visitors in the most practical, useful, economical, safe, and beneficial way. Street repair and maintenance. The Public Works Department maintains 110 miles of blacktop roads and 6 gravel roads. We repair potholes and do some overlays on blacktop streets. We maintain the gravel roads, adding rock at least 2 times per year. Storm drains and culverts. In 2010, our department began a maintenance program for the city's storm drains and culverts. We regularly clean and maintain the drainage system following the snow removal zone. We also maintain, replace culverts across driveways. Snow removal. The department takes care of snow removal from the city roadways during the winter. Our first priorities is to clean hills and main roadways, and then we take care of residential areas. We usually order between 600 to 800 tons of salt per year. Snow removal zones. The blue zone would be the 77 exit, that's the north. The red, it would be Short Line, and the green would be Prospect area, and the yellow would be the 76 exit area. Concrete work. We repair and replace curbs, sidewalks, driveway entrances, as well as storm boxes for the storm drain system. Vehicle and equipment maintenance. The Public Works Department houses and operates the city garage. Archie Poff is the senior mechanic. Archie and his mechanics professionally repair, service, and maintain the city fleet of vehicles and equipment, including heavy equipment, trucks, police cruisers, generators, mowers, chainsaws, and weed trimmers. Sign maintenance. We maintain all of our street signs in the city, replacing worn or faded signs, missing or stolen signs, and postage that are bent or broken. We put out road closed, high water, or special traffic signs as needed. Brush pickup. Brush pickup is always on the 3rd full week of each month. It is picked up on garbage pickup day at curbside. Maximum amount of brush is no more than a full pickup load. The brush must be cut in lengths that can be handled by one person. Leaf removal. The department is always responsible for the leaf removal within the city. We usually start around November 1st and continue until the leaves are gone. We usually start where the leaves are the heaviest, and then we follow the brush pickup route. Spring and fall cleanup. The spring and fall cleanups are in conjunction with Legacy. Spring cleanup is held during the 1st week of April, and the fall cleanup is held during the 1st week of October. We normally pick up brush, wooden items, and tires that are placed out curbside on trash pickup day. Street sweeping. We are responsible for sweeping the city streets of Berea. We run the street sweeper every week about 7 hours per day. The street sweeper is sometimes used to clean out catch basins that get clogged, clean city parking lots, and with our leaf removal. Tree trimming. We trim trees that get too big with overhanging limbs in the roadway or blocking signs. We take down trees that become a threat to homes or businesses that are on city right-of-ways. Mowing. Our department mows and trims all of our city roadsides with all due finishing mowing of the city-owned properties with the exception of the parks. We also trim around signs, telephone poles, rock walls, ditches, and rock ditches. Painting. The department paints all curbs once a year. We stripe all roadways, parking spots, and city parking lots. We also paint handicap and bus parking areas also. We also paint street markings and stop bars. Roadside trash pickup. We pick up trash from roadsides at least 4 times a year. In 2010, we picked up approximately 1,618 bags of trash. We also remove dead animals and debris from roadways. Christmas decorations. Our department does all of the Christmas decorating throughout the city, including hanging banners, wreaths, and lights. We hang banners across roadways, replace bulbs, and do maintenance on the lights to keep them in working order. Special events. Our department assists other departments with special events such as the Spoonbread Festival, 4th of July activities, and Halloween at the park. We help set up tents, close roadways, and help with traffic control. Special jobs and projects. In 2010, our department worked on several projects or jobs such as replacing curb on Chestnut Street, replacing drainage systems in several locations in the city, placing the bridge on Baldwin Street, replacing a privacy fence at the police department, and installing bike racks throughout the city. We removed the old carpet from the fitness room and painted the floor. The following is some of the pictures, a few of the projects we have worked on. Police department privacy fence. Chestnut Street curbs. That's where I stay on the phone. Placement of storm boxes. Baldwin Street Bridge project. Baldwin Street Bridge in progress. Baldwin Street Bridge continued. Baldwin Street Bridge completion. Y'all have any questions?
Questions for Mr. Taylor? That was a fine job.
Yes. Thank
I've
you.
got one.
How many employees you have, Tim?
15.
15?
Yes, full time.
And are you going to be working March the 3rd?
I doubt it. I'd say the wife says no.
Tim, you say we've got a maintenance schedule worked up now for major drainage and waterways so we can keep them cleared and cleaned?
Yes, sir.
We're going to do it in phases? Is that how you're going to
Yeah,
do it?
we're going to do it in the snow route phase.
In what now?
Snow route phase, it's like the blue zone, red zone, and green zone.
Okay. That's something new then, you got done in, you started in 210, right?
Yes, yes it is.
Thanks.
Other questions?
That map that had the 4 colors on it for the 4 zones, now, what does that mean? Does that a priority on snow removal? Is, which color is which, or is it
Well-
not that? I was wondering what the significance of the colors were on that.
Well, it's a route.
A route, that's all it is, just denoting that, so it's not a priority to do this color first or that, like?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Whatever is priority, it's in that color. You know, that's the roads that we do.
Which is the hills and
The
the major
hills,
roads.
yeah,
like
the
you
major
say.
roads,
Okay,
yeah.
that's what I was trying to figure out.
Tim, I don't know how you get so much done. That's quite a list of
15 guys.
Does a good job.
projects and accomplishments, and he
Does a good job.
his department absolutely does.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Next, under old business, ordinance 01-11.
Ordinance 01-11 by title and summary is an ordinance of the City of Berea, Kentucky awarding a franchise for the collection and disposal of solid waste within the City of Berea to Waste Connections of Kentucky, Inc. Read in full at the last council meeting. This is a summary and second reading.
We have a motion on the ordinance.
So move adoption of ordinance number 0111.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Burnside,
Second,
second by Ms. Farmer. Discussion, comments, questions?
I guess we had the real transition today. Today was the first day of the new service, is that correct?
March 1st.
They picked up
They're right in the
mine,
front
so-
row here, making sure that it was not for aught.
Great.
Any other comments or questions?
I just have one other. I think there's, it could be a misunderstanding, but my understanding is that Legacy is operating under the same expectation in terms of how much they will pick up, where it has to be located, as our previous waste collectors did. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Some people were concerned because I think they had put some extra stuff out. The other collectors picked it up, and then they saw Legacy's paper identifying what all they would do, and they were concerned if those things happened. But I told them we didn't change the contract, just the person. Okay.
Other comments or questions? Hearing none then, please respond appropriately to the call of the roll. Mr. Jennings?
Yes.
Mr. Fields?
Aye. Yes.
Blando?
Yes.
Mr. Wagers?
Yes.
Ms. Farmer?
Yes.
Mr. Little?
Yes.
Mr. Burnside?
Yes.
Ordinance is adopted. Next, ordinance 02-11.
Ordinance 02-11 is an ordinance of the City of Berea, Kentucky, providing that the Code of Ordinances be amended by revising Section 40.100, providing for a speed limit of 15 miles an hour on Locker Court. Second reading.
We have a motion on the ordinance.
So moved.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Burnside. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Little. Comments, questions, discussion? Hearing none, please respond appropriately to the call of the roll. Mr. Burnside?
Aye.
Mr. Little?
Aye.
Ms. Farmer?
Aye.
Mr. Wagers?
Aye.
Orlando?
Yes.
Fields?
Aye.
Mr. Jennings?
Yes.
Ordinance is adopted. New business, committee reports, audit and finance. Mr. Burnside?
Nothing to report.
Department heads, any department head like to supplement the written report? Chief Gregory?
Mayor, Council, I'll be brief. Monday, I attended a meeting at the Safety City, and we discussed a prescription drug disposal program. Several months ago, I was approached by the Madison County Health Department. Myself and Chief Brock with Richmond Police Department feel that this is a good program, and the goal of this program is to reduce the amount of pharmaceuticals available in the community for non-medical use or abuse. So what the plan will be, we will set up a drop box outside the police department so people can get rid of the prescription medication that they no longer use, and the Berea Police Department will dispose of it in accordance with DEA regulations. Sometime in May, you will see a big billboard that'll be at the Walgreens and Subway there on 25 that will have a picture of a child, and it'll talk about prescription drugs, not giving those to your children. So just wanted to touch base with you all on that if you see these billboards up. So I'm 100% behind it. And if you have any questions on myself, be glad to answer those. And I also have Ruth Hawkins here from the Health Department to answer any questions.
Questions for Chief Gregory or our Health Department?
If you bring in prescription drugs to be disposed of, you leave them in the container that they're in?
That's correct.
Regular bottle and everything?
That's correct.
Okay.
Or you can put them in a Ziploc baggie or any way that they're in those type of containers.
Chief Gregory, we do have a pretty serious drug problem, don't we?
Well, I mean, we have some prescription people that are abusing prescription drugs, so it's known in the community. Yes, sir.
It's everywhere.
I assume this drop box is secured?
Yes, it's bolted down. It's kind of like the old metal mailbox type system. So,
But it's also a health risk as well, others besides the drug abuse thing.
Yeah, there's EPA guidelines, you know, you shouldn't flush your drugs down.
Because some cities are really suffering, I mean, their water systems are because of that case.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
So we have it incinerated, so.
Other questions? Thank you for the report.
Thank you.
Any other department heads? Ms. Grable?
Good evening. I just wanted to bring everyone's attention to all the wonderful things that we have going on in the Parks Department during the month of March. You'll definitely want to take advantage of some of these opportunities. On March 5th, this Saturday, from 12 to 4 at the Russell Acton Folk Center, we have a program called Ladies Who Launch, and it is a highlight on female entrepreneurships in our community. We want to bring awareness and celebrate all of the great work that has been done through these female entrepreneurships. It is a free event. Again, it's 12 to 4 at the Folk Center, and people will be able to meet and greet with several of the entrepreneurs that are actually Berea locals. We have several artisans who'll be joining us. So, also on March 17th, which everyone knows is St. Patrick's Day, we are hosting, in conjunction with the Madison County Public Library, Green Your Routine. So at 6 o'clock at the Berea City Park, for all ages, and it is free, we'll be focusing on ways in which we can all be eco-friendly in our day-to-day lives, and we'll wrap up with a practical but fun craft. Then on March 19th, also at the Folk Center, in partnership with Elite Martial Arts, we will be offering at 11 a.m. a bully-proof workshop for children ages 5 to 12. And this day and age, we all know how important it is for children to be able to prevent bullying. So again, that's at 11 a.m. And then we also, at 12 o'clock that day, have an adult self-defense workshop. And that, of course, is also free. So we are taking pre-registration only for those two classes because we do have a limit of 20. And if anyone has questions, they can call us at the park office, 986-9402. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you all have.
Questions for Ms. Kriebel? The entrepreneurship Saturday, 12 to 2?
12 to 4.
12 to 4. The chamber might like to be there, might be some new members or show support for local entrepreneurs.
And it is a free event, so everyone's welcome.
And it's open to the public.
Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Other department heads with supplementary reports? Next, city administrator's report.
Burnside said I had to be brief, and it's probably the longest report I've ever had. And Ms. Farmer, David and I probably spent an hour talking about what kind of box to put out here, so we had the same concerns. I do want to make you aware, first of all, the strategic planning meeting will be March 9th, beginning at 8:30. We'll be at Delta Gas. So it's March 9th, 8:30 a.m., Delta Gas. We do want to welcome aboard with us the Waste Connection and Legacy, as they have, we've called it dumpster wars in the last couple of weeks, as they have picked up all of the outstanding Rumpke dumpsters and roll carts and recycling carts and replaced it with theirs. They've done an excellent job to date. Now, I won't go any farther than that. They're here tonight to protect their investment and see if we're going to really sign a contract with them, but that we'll do. And also, along with them, we want to thank Rumpke, because Rumpke jumped in and made the transition very, very smooth, and even hauled some of their carts and hauled some of their own back. And so we do appreciate what Rumpke, the 18 years of relationship that we have with Rumpke continued until, I guess, yesterday at 4 o'clock when Stacy called and said we're finished. So we do appreciate both of these companies working together. I have talked to Rumpke and also have talked to a couple local banks as far as those customers who have automatic withdrawal from their accounts. The only way that the bank will take anything out of your account is they receive something from well, in our case, Berea Municipal Utilities or Rumpke. So Rumpke will dump their file. We'll no longer maintain that file, so if you sign up with the Legacy or Waste Connection, you won't be dual served. Only that one company that then files. And I also was told there's a possibility by the bank that if you stop payment on that, you'll have to pay a stop payment charge. So we'll trust Rumpke in dumping their files, and Legacy and Waste Connection will pick up that service. Also be aware that probably on Saturday of this week you received a bill, their first bill. It's a card in your mailboxes at home, and make sure everybody aware of that. And also on the back of that you can fill out if you want to have various ways of payment for them.
Do pay attention to the card, because it can easily get lost.
I appreciate that, yes. Also, continue on, we have finalized our contract with NCRS to continue with cleaning of the streams. We met with them yesterday, got all the parameters and our do's and don'ts out of the way. It's a $30,000 contract, which is a 75-25 match, so we can receive up to $22,500 for our work of labor and use of our equipment as we continue to clean streams. And this is a 90 calendar day contract, 90 working calendar days in that contract. So we will start probably at the beginning of next week back in the streams, working and cleaning those as long as it doesn't rain. On your desk this evening, I laid some project forms, and if you have any calls or something from your constituents or things that you want us to look into, please fill those out or just call me, and I'll fill one out and make sure that we are working with projects that your constituents may have for us to do throughout the city. I've had a question to review, and I enjoyed doing this, but I had a question to review the Folk Center usage throughout the week and the evenings down there. Maggie has partnered with a company called Fitness Friends and Fun to utilize the Folk Center in the evenings, along with Cheryl Chastain teaches a class for Berea Parks and Recreations on Monday and Wednesday in cardio tone. We have somewhere between 140 and 200 people, both male and female, that are working out and exercising at the Folk Center. 2 of those nights are our specific parks programs, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of those, and Monday evening also is the Fitness Friends and Fun. They pay a stipend to the city for the use of the building. They also provide the equipment that's used. They have their own insurance, and we pretty much viewed this as we looked through it as our same relationship that we have with the Youth League. So it is about, like I say, 140 to 200 people. And if you haven't been down there and seen them all in there, you might want to go. It's use of that building. So it is something that is necessary, it looks like, and it's not in competition, the best we can tell, with anyone in our community. So appreciate that question and looking into that. Also, at the last council meeting, was brought up to look at the Rainbow Acres subdivision for the availability of sidewalks. And we've done some work in looking into the Rainbow Acres out off of Shortline Pike. Rainbow Acres was developed under the county subdivision regulations. It has no curbs at all out there, neither roll curbs nor box curbs, and it has ditches on each side. We have about a 50-foot right-of-way in the area. To look at that, it would be a project that we may want to look at in the future that would be curb and gutter with the sidewalk and drainage, which would be a massive project. Or we've had the suggestion made among staff that if there's a possibility that they would like for us to donate rights of way behind the ditch line in the area, if the community wanted to work with us, then we could build sidewalks in that area in that particular way. But again, it doesn't have any kind of curbing system, and it is ditch on both sides. So that we'll continue to look at that, and we want to bring you all up to date on what we'd found on that particular subdivision.
What was the nature of the question that we had?
A number of people walking in the road way out there, and a way to get off of the road.
Avoiding traffic?
Yes.
Yeah, because it seems that the traffic has increased from that original development.
With the development in the back,
Right, huh?
Mr. Carpenter's, and so yes, there's more traffic.
Quite a few children, and a lot of walkers.
So not necessarily water, but
No.
pedestrian movement.
Water would be a part of that because of the drainage system that's there, or the lack of. Although we did, while we were out there, did look at Johnson Road. It's a very shallow ditch again on Johnson Road, and we're going to pull those ditches later in the spring and get our riprap back in place out there, and also do some work on that particular area for drainage.
Well, I hope that we do follow up and see if there's some alternative to help those people in that areas.
Baldwin Street, Tim did have that on his report, and we appreciate all the work that the street department has done with Baldwin Street. This is a picture of the finished product. It turned out very well. I do appreciate what they have done. We're going to call it Baldwin Falls because the new curbs, it now splatters off on both sides, which works excellently, and also, so we may get a Berea boat Miss Mist or something pass under there. So, an excellent job. I think the neighborhood is also proud of it, and we do appreciate what our street crew did on this project. Again, the amended budget will be before the Finance Committee and the Council at 4:30 on March 15th, which is next council meeting. We presently have 2 bids out. One is for the Mentalist Industrial Park of the farm. For the use of that farm, those bids will be open April 15th. We're bidding that, the opportunity for someone to bid on it, the entire farm, and possibility of some dedicated space that we have for growing of tobacco. And also, we have a lot of acreage owned by the Industrial Authority on Mady Roadside, and the bidder who receives the award to farm or use this property will also be required to mow and keep that other property up. So those bids will be open April 15th. They'll do it for 4 o'clock on that day. Also, we have put out the bid for the financial software for the city, and those bids will be open March 31st. We have 2 police cars on order, and this week, working with the state contract, pricing for vehicles, which is very difficult right now because they're few and far between. We've ordered 3 pickup trucks, 1 for the park and 2 for the street department. Again, with help of Mr. McKay, this afternoon we received a packet from CSX Railroad, a preliminary engineering agreement for the Mady Railroad crossing. I've got a copy for Mr. Gilbert to review, and we'll talk with him tomorrow about that contract. And we were trying to work with CSX and also with the school system and with the state to see if we cannot get that crossing in by the time that the new school is opened. We'll extend every effort that we can to get that done, but again, this is 1st of March and mid-August, but we are doing everything that we can to try to get that crossing in place by the beginning of school. That's really all that I have this evening. If you have any questions, I'll answer them. Yes,
Questions for Mr. Stone?
I have one question. On Prospect Street, are they going to change the route there? And what is the planned completion date there? Has that been updated?
The route will be changed at some point in time. I'm not sure right now when. And the completion is August of this year. We've had several questions this week about the wall. We did start out when we first thought about this project that the walls would be the dry laid stone or some fascia on there that would be a stone. We couldn't afford it. As we got into it, we got such an excellent deal when we did Broadway, and we couldn't match that again. So we have a poured colored concrete wall with a board finish. Then there's a sealer that goes over that. The weather holds up. They've made quite a bit of progress in the last couple of days, and if throughout this week. But I don't know the exact timing, Mr. Fields, but yes, the traffic will be changed somewhat.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions for Mr. Stone?
Yes, Mr. Will.
On the farm bids, you're going to have it in the paper this week.
Yes, sir.
And on the new bridge down there where you did say they was going to dip out that, clean out the waterway there under it, didn't you, before they put the top on it, on Brushy Fork?
Yes.
And clean it?
Either they will or we will now that we have, yes.
Well, I know it, but before they put the top back on it, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be cleaned out.
It has to be cleaned out because
Before they put the...
Yes, sir.
And one more thing. We don't have enough space in the dresser building down there to do some of that exercise and stuff we're doing in the folk center.
We can look into that.
You know, if we've got a bunch of extra space down there, if we're using our folk center and other people like to be using it, I don't know, just a question.
Try to look into that.
Thanks.
Other questions for Mr. Stone?
There's a real bad pothole at the end of the bridge, I bet.
They fixed it the same
Did they fix it?
They're supposed to put some coal patch. Either they did or we did. I don't know who did it, but
Well, I'm glad somebody
I talked to
did,
Tim this
because-
afternoon, and I said, I don't know that Garrison had any coal patch, but I did tell Tim this afternoon, try to sneak in there and get that coal patch.
Thank you, whoever, thank you.
Yeah, we were hoping that the utilities might help us.
Other questions? Thank you, Mr. Stone. I just have one comment, and that's really a request. Council probably needs to have update on 2 matters of litigation and 1 personnel item. So at council's convenience, I'd like to request that we adjourn into an executive session.
You want to do that now? I mean, this evening?
We can either, yes, tonight, but it's, the question is either before your comments or after your comments.
After the comments.
Then may I have a motion that we would adjourn to executive session after the completion of the council comments to receive a briefing on 2 items of pending litigation or completed litigation and personnel item.
So moved.
So, well, second.
By Mr. Burnside, second by Ms. Farmer. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Council comments, Mr. Burnside?
Nothing.
Mr. Little?
Yeah. I've just got our new budget's coming up, and I just wondered if the council had any interest in bidding out our workman's comp insurance and health insurance. You know, maybe someone local could get it or save some money for the city. I don't know. That's just something to think about. The council, I don't know what they're, I don't know. That's just
If we
something.
could talk about it at our strategic planning
Yeah, I
next
think
week.
that's something we should
Just something,
discuss.
for the council to think about. That's all. Thanks.
Ms. Farmer?
Nothing.
Mr. Wagers?
I'd just like to thank Mr. Pena and Ms. Powell and Taylor and everybody that came tonight. Glad you all came.
Mr. Belando?
Nothing, sir.
Mr. Fields?
No comment.
Mr. Jennings?
Nothing.
Then we will adjourn to an executive session, talk about litigation and personnel matters.
Honey, thank you so much.
Thank you, Juan.
Thank you.